Hey, hi everybody. Hey, thanks for look at all these people that are showing up. Wonderful.
Oh, wow.
We never know when there's going to be a bunch of people because it's an odd time for us. Sunday afternoons or people get busy with stuff. So thank you very much for showing up today. I would love that. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat line and in all caps. And if you space it out and don't put it in all caps, we'll still probably try to look into it.
So here's something that came in the chat.
Yay! I hope so.
Yeah, that would be good, right?
Yeah, that's right. So everybody, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I do need subscribers because I need to get to 1,000. Thanks for mentioning that, Mimi.
Yeah. Thanks, Mimi. Wow. Yeah. So there's people here. That's excellent. Oh no, Teacher Barbara, my backyard is flooding. It's coming into the garage. Oh, I live in a flood zone, Teacher Barbara. I feel for you. Are you in Florida? Oh, she's probably in Florida. I'm sorry. Oh, hey, Tarot Stash. Nice to see you. So we're all sending dry vibes to Teacher Barbara. Let it avoid the basement. Let it avoid the basement.
Avoid the basement, right? Wow.
The garage. Let it avoid the garage.
So what we're talking about today, one of the first things we're talking about, obviously, this is the time when Kamala is going to be picking her VP. And so personally, I've said that I was feeling that now I just spaced out the name. We've been talking about the different people. The guy from Pennsylvania.
Shapiro,
Josh Shapiro, and the guy from Kentucky, Andy Beshear. That those have kind of been the first two that I thought might be it. Right now, I'm thinking, it is just up in the air. I have complete faith in whatever Kamala Harris comes up with. I just think there is no wrong person. Every candidate that she's looking at has excellent qualifications, and they're just, any of them could be great. So I guess I'm just going to wait and see what she does on Monday or Tuesday, and we'll probably find out then. And I just think she's just what is happening with her is so amazing. I mean, she has just exploded onto the scene, and just from the minute we found out she was going to be running for president, it's just been going better, 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 better. Just wonderful. And I love what she has to say. And then we always get to hear Trump telling us how terrible she is and how terrible Biden is and how terrible the Democrats are. And we know that's not true, but we also know that Trump is a pathological liar, and so he can't help himself but to spew nothing but lies. But Kamala has it. She is just gonna she's going to annihilate him. I mean, the way things are going right now, it's just perfect that she is such a good speaker herself. She's very knowledgeable. She's very tenacious. She just is. We are going to have such a good time when she is president, because she is going to bring back things that Trump's messed with. And he's really screwed up the court system. I think I saw somewhere that Trump, when he was in office, assigned something like 256 or 250 some judges across the country, and he's got them all in his hip pocket. And they're like bought and paid for. So they're going to clear that up already. Biden is trying to do something about the crazy things that the Supreme Court has decided on, like beginning with Roe versus Wade, but also this presidential immunity things like that. All these things are going to be coming up, and Kamala is going to be right on that. And I think Trump even said something about, that Kamala is just going to do exactly what Biden did. Well, Yahoo! What Biden has done is just amazing. I hope he's right. I think he is. I think that is what Kamala is going to do, because she was right there beside him, watching this the whole time and encouraging it. And so they have just done, the Biden administration has been amazing. Kamala is going to bring that forward. So, but this thing with the Republicans, now we're finding out that there's more and more Republicans that are backing Kamala Harris because, well, for a number of reasons. Trump being a liar, Trump unable to stay on point, Trump slurring his words and looking more and more demented every day.
Yeah.
And all his although he tries to step back from Project 2025, they know that's exactly what he's aiming for. And that's what he's been doing all along. He's been building up, and just like putting all these judges into the court system so that they can do what they want to do. I mean, it's just a crazy thing that they're doing with Project 2025, and it would totally change our democracy, and it would be horrible. So that's, basically these other Republicans are like, we want to, there's certain things we want, but we don't want that. We don't want a king.
Right.
We don't want a dictator. We don't want somebody that's just going to turn the whole government upside down and really destroy democracy. They want democracy. So all of those people are now supporting Kamala Harris. Republican voters in general, and I've been saying this for months before Biden ever stepped down, that they are turning their back on the Republican Party and they're voting Democrat, because they see what Biden has done for them, for all of us, and they want the same things. And mainly this thing about democracy, nobody wants to annihilate democracy. I mean, how crazy would that be? So was there something you wanted to say, Colleen, about
I just wanted to add that President Biden has not done bad in the judge arena himself. So far, he has appointed one judge to SCOTUS, 43 judges to the Court of Appeals. That's a federal level court, 159 district court judges across the United States, and 2 U.S. Court of International Trade judges. And if I can add that up, that's 46 plus 159. That is only 205, but not bad for judge.
Not bad at all. And by the way, everybody, Colleen did that manually. She didn't even use a calculator.
That's true. I did. I actually did math. Now I'm just going to fact check how many judges. I do think it's closer to 250 for Trump.
Well, I mean, and Biden's not done.
Exactly.
This Trump did 250 some in his entire administration, his 4 years. But I mean, we're just seeing more and more, not, video, well, people, on YouTube talking about how Trump has gotten he's just gotten really bad, really sick looking. And they're the ones that are saying, yes, the Republicans are turning on him because that's not what anybody wants. And we don't want to be stuck with a president that we're supposed to be we're supposed to be fighting for him. So we want to change everything so that he doesn't get in trouble. I mean, this is just craziness.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing with Trump is craziness. So that is absolutely not going to happen. I just see that God, the future is just looking so, so bright. I mean, I just, I keep looking off into 2025 and how it's going. And that's how I know that Kamala wins, because none of the things I see in 2025 would be happening if she didn't win. And
Yeah.
I think, and like we said, whoever she picks is going to be excellent. And, she's got to pick somebody that she believes that if something happened to her, and she had to step down, that he could automatically fill in for her and be a good president. And that's exactly what she's looking at.
Yeah. I did fact check, and Donald Trump, while he has appointed many judges, not nearly as many as Barack Obama, George W. Bush. Bill Clinton is the runaway winner, and Ronald Reagan. He appointed 43 or 54 appeals court judges and 174 district court judges for a total of 226. So Joe Biden not far behind, and he still has a few months to go. And a lot of this probably in the era of Trump and Obama and Biden is because these judges are aging out of the system. They just need to retire either for health reasons or they're just too damn old, So that's what's going on there. But yeah, I think that the energy surrounding Kamala, I just can't get over it. It's just like, I mean, people are talking about the Obama feeling, and she did work and knew Obama and Michelle before Obama and Michelle, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama before he was even, I think, maybe even in the Senate or when he was in the Senate, but she has known them for years and worked on his campaign. So that's another reason she really knows how campaigns work, because she's done all this on the ground stuff. And thank God she ran for president against Biden and Trump and everybody in 2020. That gave her worlds of experience, in addition to all her other experience, so that she just had that campaign experience. And I think that's what gave Obama a real advantage, because he was a grassroots organizer. He knew how to get people motivated, excited, organized, and that put him over the finish line. And he also, supercharged social media, which most candidates had not done up to that point. So she learned some really valuable lessons there, and I think that's going to take her all the way.
Well, and I think the fact that she ran in 2020 or attempted to run,
she ran pretty successfully. I was going to vote for her.
well, and it brought everybody's attention to her.
Yeah.
And then to me, I think that was the first time I really paid any attention to who she was. And then when she decided not to run, dropped out of that, and then Biden put her in there, I thought, I'm going to find out more. I mean, this is our vice president. And, I just love what Joe Biden has done for women and for the country. And I mean, he just is, he really advocates for women. I mean, and we really needed that.
Yeah, and he is a reformed old white guy, because he ran the trial, or the hearing rather, for Clarence Thomas when he was getting into the Supreme Court with Anita Hill. And he was, prejudiced against Anita Hill. He was a man of his time. He was going by the idioms and paradigms of that moment in history where men didn't believe women, and they thought they were being hysterical, and they thought that they were being, overreactive, or that it was just a joke, or toss it off. I got to tell you, at that time in the world, I was working in places where it was just disgusting. It was routine for men to hit on you, to corner you, to, say they needed something from the supply room and then try to get up on you. I mean, it just was rampant, rampant. And you could do almost nothing about it. If you had the nerve to bring up a lawsuit, probably that was going to be the last job in that industry that you would ever have. I mean, that's just the way it was. And for Anita Hill to do what she did was incredibly brave, but I think she knew the moment. She knew that if that guy got on the Supreme Court, it was going to be bad news for everybody. And she was right, like she knew.
Yeah.
So Joe Biden is a reformed woman supporter.
Okay.
He probably was a great dad then. He probably was a great husband then. He probably was, he was a great politician even then. But that, I think, was a changing moment in his life. It was a benchmark in his life where he had to see and act in his so-called normal way, unthinking way, and then he had to see the results of his actions. And I think as over time, I think he began to see, oh, I kind of screwed the pooch on that one, didn't I? So he owes us. So
Well,
he's paying us back.
Biden had said towards the end, when he was getting ready to step down, he said that he'd only do that if the Lord told him to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, the Lord did tell him to.
Yeah.
And, he wasn't really even quite sure how it went, but that he has said that's really the only way he was going to do it. So his spirit guides or his Lord talked to him and said, Joe, you're not going to believe what's going to happen. If you step down, it'll just be great. So Garden Genie asked, do you ever wonder if Kamala herself is just blown away by the enthusiasm? She must realize it's because she is exactly where she is supposed to be. And absolutely, I do think she is blown away. But, because I think the only person that's probably not blown away is Joe Biden. I think he's surprised.
Yeah.
But everybody else were just like, wow, because everybody in the country, they really didn't want Trump, and for other reasons, they didn't really want Biden. And now we gave him an alternative to somebody that has really lifted everybody's spirits and showed us that no, we don't have to just go for two old guys. And that's the other problem that Trump's having right now is now he's the old guy and he looks like it, he acts like it. This thing about constantly slurring his words and incomplete sentences and making no sense, this got the Republicans worried. Even though the so-called poll numbers still have him neck and neck, how fast did it? Well, I mean, some do, some don't. Some have Kamala ahead. But that means it's been 2 weeks, 2 weeks today that Kamala has been running for president. And already she's doing better in the polls than Trump.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Give her another couple weeks.
A woman who went into her office, wherever her office is, probably in the White House, and saged it before she sat down. She took a stick of sage with her. She burned it in her office and saged the shit out of that thing. So good vibes in there. Do we think Kamala is intuitive? Oh, hell yeah. She's born on a full moon. She is a person who goes by her gut. She understands what people are thinking, what they're doing, how they react to things. She really does. And she's very concerned with helping people because she understands that certain people are disadvantaged just by society, and she wants to help. She truly wants to help. But she also does really trust her gut, and she doesn't do anything without, really feeling it in her gut. And then she'll be like, yeah, let's go. I mean, you saw her on that little interview when she was coming down, I think, from one of the planes. She was right at the bottom of the little steps from the planes. And they were talking about, what about Trump backing out of the debate, whatever. And she's like, oh, I hope he changes his mind. And I hope that he's, thinking about it because I'm going to be there. So I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And she walks away. I mean, her energy is just right on. And she's very intuitive. She doesn't have to really stop and think about her answers because she's really using her intuition. She's also incredibly informed. So that's a great combination. That's just a fantastic combination. So, yeah.
So you answered Book Bewitched question before I put it up. And it says, can you look and see how Kamala is feeling? Is she feeling our joy? And is she intuitive? And Colleen says she is.
She super is. She super is. And I bet that she is pretty happy. I bet that it hasn't really dawned on her yet to be at all nervous or overwhelmed. Maybe it won't. Maybe, I mean, Moon in Aries, Sun in Libra. She loves the whole, let's do this thing. Let me be a person who can talk for my living and communicate. Let me celebrate the underdog and help them. Let me, practice justice in a fair and balanced way. But also, let me be engaged. Let me be active. Let me take action with things. Let me be engaged with humanity. Let's have that back and forth. That's her Moon in Aries, and yeah, she's right where she should be, and she knows that, I think. Oh, Connie B says her sorority sisters predicted she would be president. They were right. They're all intuitive.
Can you bring that onto the
Sure.
cool. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Okay, I'm looking through some of the questions here.
okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that I think Kamala has probably had it in the back of her mind the whole time because of Joe's age.
Yeah.
And, that something could happen. Maybe not that he would die, but that he just became incapacitated or whatever. And she was ready to do that. And he knew that from the get go. He knew that she was ready, that, she didn't have any fear about this or can I try to do it? She was ready to go. And I guess that's just how she approached being attorney general, just how she approached being a prosecutor. Just very smart and tenacious and just really a cool person. So
Yeah, at the age of 59, she is let me just pull up her chart. She has just passed through her second Saturn return. So this is a person who is looking at, where is her Saturn? Hold on a second. Let me just pull this up because that's either a really difficult time in your life or just a very challenging time in your life or a horrible time in your life. Trying to see here. Yeah, she passed that probably about 2 years ago. And so, we have this person who has seen that. Wait, where did I go? We have this person who has gone through two tests of Saturn. That is the taskmaster. They hold your feet to the fire. Are you really doing what you should do? And I have a feeling that, so I also have my Saturn pretty high up in my chart like she does. And so when you have your Saturn very close to your midheaven or in your 10th house, your first Saturn return may be very challenging. Not that you like get down and out or anything, because most people with Saturn very high elevated in their chart really work hard at what they're trying to do. So they're already working hard. It's not that they're not working hard. It's that life still is saying, hey, are you doing the right thing to be working hard at? And are you working the way you should? And do you have your priorities in order? Do you have the people around you, yada, yada, the credentials, everything. So she went through her first Saturn return right before she was 30, probably 28 years old or 29 years old, which we all do. And usually for a person with that elevated Saturn, the second Saturn return is usually just great. It's usually just like, here you go. You're in the boardroom. Do you like that? You better, because you've got Saturn up there high in your chart. You told us you wanted to work in your life, so here you go. So I think that she really feels like she's in a good place. And having passed through that Saturn, she doesn't have to worry about that. So now, for the next at least 7 years, she's kind of on easy street in that way. She's kind of like riding on her authority, riding on her expertise, riding on her visibility, riding on her accomplishments. So she's really not going to have to prove too much to herself anyway. And I think she's going to, because of that, I think her confidence level will be even higher, that she'll be able to make decisions easily and not be worried about making those decisions. And that's really good. And I don't think that she's the kind of person that's going to just willy-nilly like throw us into a war or something like that just because she's overconfident. I'm not saying that. I'm
no.
saying that she will be She will be able to be measured when she needs to be measured. She will make quick decisions when she needs to make quick decisions. And she's always going to have in mind, and you hear it in all of her speeches, she is thinking about the American people every waking minute. And I just think it's a great thing. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Cool. Okay, so Garden Genie asks, do you see Washington State governor being a Democrat? Well, I am from Washington State, and I absolutely do see that. I mean, that's Washington tends to go for Democrat all the way.
Mhm.
I see Ferguson getting it. And I see, his only competition is Reichert. And I have my own personal distaste of Reichert. I don't see him being a good governor, and I see him. He has actually gone against the. He wanted the abortion rights to be Roe versus Wade. He wanted to get rid of that 3 times when he was a representative in the House, and I'm like, okay. And so now he's coming out in his little campaign saying, regardless of how I feel about something, I would never change that. Well, I'll tell you right now, when you're a Republican and you tell me that, I do not believe you, because that's how Republicans do things. They say what they think you want to hear, and then they do just the opposite.
Yep.
So, yes, definitely, I see Ferguson. I think he'll be a great governor. He just seems like a genuinely good guy, and for being an attorney general and a prosecutor or whatever he was, I mean, he's done a really good job. I like his kind of down to earth sensibility about things. And, I hate to see Inslee go. He has just been a great governor, I think. But yes, I do see a Democrat. And I see the whole Washington state doing that. I know, like, Eastern Washington tends to be Republican. Western Washington tends to be Democrat. I think that's because we're getting more of a flow off from the ocean.
The ions are better.
Yeah, but I mean, the eastern part of the state is not nearly as populated as the western part of the state. So
It's also closer to Idaho, and that's a more Republican leaning state.
yeah, it just always surprised me that it works that way. But yeah, I do. That's what I see. I see Ferguson getting it.
Do you want to look at some of the starred things?
Just a second, a minute.
Okay.
She said she just dropped her ballot yesterday. You know what, Garden Jeannie? So did I. So did I. I just dropped my ballot off yesterday. So yeah, Riker's no good. Now, what were you asking, Colleen?
Do you want to look at some of the starred questions?
Oh, you've actually starred something. Okay.
A couple, yeah. The first one, I think you starred. Yeah, the Anita Hill thing. Yeah, that was. They keep showing little clips of it, but that was kind of a sad day in our country.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Okay. So, with all the Texas issues and problems, will this lead to Texas turning blue or purple in November and the end of Abbott and his crew? I don't have anything quite yet about the internal workings of Texas, but I do see, and it just seemed crazy to me, that Texas and Florida are either going to go purple or go blue. And I mean, both those states are so entrenched in Republicans that I'm really surprised. But one thing I found out about Florida recently is that Florida is like the what they call it in the article. They called it the lab rat for Project 2025. And as soon as I read that, I thought, yeah, no kidding, no kidding. That is so true. And the things that their governor keeps coming up with is just really bizarre. I mean, they are operating entirely differently than the rest of the world. Banning books and coming down on transgender people, and And Disneyland, that just blew my mind. They're fighting with Disneyland. I guess Disneyland's not doing too well on the court front with them. But yeah, I do see some strange things happening with Texas and Florida as far as possibly turning purple or blue. As far as the end of Abbott and his crew, I have not paid enough attention to that. I don't really. I think it would be a good thing if it came to an end, but I don't know that that's going to happen. It depends on. I don't know. I mean, they just do such horrible things. I know they're so irritated about all these people coming over their borders and stuff, and I imagine it has caused a lot of chaos and problems in Texas. But hey, Texas is a huge state. They can bring more people in. I just don't like their attitude. And the same with Ron DeSantis. I just don't like their attitude about immigration. You know, that they treat people that are coming over the border like criminals. They treat them like criminals and just, you know, shipping them all over the country without they needed to make a plan. They needed to get together with other states so that we could all be helpful. But instead of wanting to be helpful, they're just mad at everybody for them having to deal with the problem, and they haven't dealt with it very well. And then and that's one thing that Trump's bringing up, that he's blaming Kamala Harris because she was working on the border problem, and I just find that ironic that he would do that because we gave them the perfect plan. Well, not the perfect plan, but the best thing that we've had could offer. Biden offered them a great deal, and they turned it down because Trump said, "Don't go for it because it'll affect my campaign for president."
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying, you know, Biden and Harris are in. It's their fault that these things at the border aren't working out. However, he's the one that stopped it from being better. So,
Right.
you know, I think this border thing has been going on for years and years, and until people can just try to work with each other instead of just being so angry about everything and claiming that these people that are coming across the border are criminals and rapists and drug addicts and drug pushers, and you know, this is absolutely ridiculous. But
Yeah.
it's really a sad and a frightening thing. I mean, I just can't imagine. Things must be so horrible for these people wherever they're coming from,
They
because
are.
they know what they're going to have to put up with.
Yeah. It's, well, a couple of things. So I threw a few cards on the Abbott regime. Yeah, it's going to come to an end. It's going to begin to crumble in November, but he is in office until 2026. So unless something else takes him out of office, he's there for another couple of years. But the final card I got on the election for November of how that regime is holding up, it's not. It's going to come to an end. The world card was their final card. So I think the voters in Texas, and this is probably going to be true in Florida too, have had enough. And a lot of it comes down to their physical safety and comfort, because the Texas electrical grid being all independent and failing all the time. So they have, they're cold in the winter, they're hot in the summer. This is people are dying from it. It's just horrible. And you don't hear it on the news anymore, but Texas, I mean, if you go back through the weather things, they've had all sorts of really extreme weather go through Texas, and you don't even hear about it on the news. But how are those people handling it? I don't know how great Abbott is when it comes to those natural disasters. And same with DeSantis, it's basically Florida is just sinking into the ocean from all the flooding that's going on there. And, people are tired of it. They don't want to be the lab rats. They don't want that to happen anymore. But I also did a little pendulum thing on whether Abbott or DeSantis would be brought up on charges for sending all those immigrants around the country in buses. And yeah, I got a big loud yeah for both of them.
Good.
Yeah. Because that's sending people across state lines, and that's a federal offense. That's basically kidnapping. So I think that's how they're going to get them, is that they're basically transporting kidnapped people of all ages, by the way, across state lines. And I think they're going to really nail them for that. So I don't think it's going to be super bueno for these guys in the future. I think
Well,
they're,
and remember when they sent a busload of people to Martha's Vineyard,
yeah,
and how those people reacted? They reacted with compassion and an open heart and open arms and did everything. I don't know what happened to those people. They're probably still living up there, got jobs, they've rented an apartment, they're living the high life. And
green cards. I mean, yeah, they probably did.
To spring that on a bunch of people, and that's how people are in America. They're not going to be, oh my God, you're immigrants, get out of here. They're going to be like, you're people, and we'll do what we can to help you. And I think that's true of people across the country. And I get why it's tough on Texas, and it's tough on other states that are getting
Florida gets it too. Florida gets it from the water. People coming in from Cuba.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to say was Florida. And so, I understand that, but to be just like angry and pissed off and we're just not going to have this, and the administration should be doing something right now. Well, the administration's been trying to do something for 15, 20 years. This is not new.
And the Republicans just stand in the way. And one of the things that Kamala Harris, I know, has been working on a lot is getting together leaders of Central American countries, Mexico, and even some in South America to talk about why are people leaving your country? Is it no more food? Is it severe weather? Is it gangs and violence? Is it unemployment? What is the deal, and can we help you? That's how to handle that problem.
Yeah.
Just way more organized. And, at some point there will be portions of the planet that just can't produce food anymore because of global warming, excuse me, that was hard to say, or because the weather makes places uninhabitable. So, I think those conversations with world leaders should have been taking place for the last 50 years, in my opinion, because I heard this shit when I was in elementary school. Oh, yeah, in 30 years, the Earth's going to be like this. And to a 12-year-old, 30 years was like, who cares? Oh, man, I don't care. But it is 50 years now after the fact. And these things that are happening with global warming are terrifyingly true. All the things that they predicted are really coming true. And it's really scary. It's ridiculous, but anyway, let's move on here.
Okay, so Suki, what is your name? Suki Lau?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, all right. Will Alabama turn purple this election cycle, or will it take a few election cycles? Boy, Alabama, there's another place that feels like a different world to me, but I'm getting it mixed up with Louisiana right now. Hold on. I don't know. Probably not. But then again, when things do change, they might start looking at things differently. But it's not really something I've given much thought to. But you say no?
Yeah, no, it'll take a few.
Yeah. I get that too. Just very
sorry.
Well, yeah, they're just not.
They're not ready.
They're just not evolved, is what I was going to say. But that's not a very nice way to approach it. But yeah, they're just.
Alabama doesn't have a Stacey Abrams fighting for them. Alabama doesn't have one of these figures that has risen up from the masses and said, let me tell you what you need to know about your state and what you can do about it. Georgia has Stacey Abrams. I mean, she is, and they have Fani Willis. I mean, they have some very, very strong female leaders who are not afraid to stand up against the status quo. Florida at this point only has what's her name, Val Demings, and one other former congressperson or senator who's a female. They are standing up, and there's some other male politicians who are standing up. I want to say Joe Walsh, I think. He's always on with some of the Midas Touch guys, and he's always on Morning Joe. And he's a really evolved. I mean, he has evolved, man. He has evolved in his politics. I think it is Joe Walsh. But you need within the state, you need some, like Texas has Beto O'Rourke, right? So everybody's kind of like, he's the lighthouse, he's the lightning rod where all of that stuff comes together, and he's able to say, you can change this. In Alabama, they don't have that. In other states, I don't know who they are, but it seems that they have it. Like Kentucky has Andy Bashir. That's a really, really, really deep in the heart of the South, right? Well, not deep in the heart, but Kentucky. I mean, it's pretty Southern, right? And Andy Bashir is a Democrat, and I believe this is his second term. I mean, that's incredible for a Democrat to win that. I mean, all these other places where they're pulling governors from for Kamala Harris's VP list, these are all in states that are difficult to win usually for Democrats, all except I think Minnesota is, I don't know, I'll look at a map. But you know what I mean? Like you need somebody to be that lightning rod to like galvanize people. That's the word. You need to galvanize the public in that state so that people who are somewhat blue leaning can go, yeah, we do have to make some changes. We do have to change some of these, judges and mayors and dog catchers and get them to be more progressive thinking. If you don't have that, then it's just same old status quo. So that's why I think it's going to take a while.
Okay.
I'm going to Google something. Go ahead.
So let me see if I understand this question from Book Bewitched. She said, do you all see Rachel Maddow's video on Friday? I did not. On the election to deny people in place to not certify the 2024 election, which may be what Trump is counting on. Now, I'm glad you brought this up. I didn't see Rachel's video, but I have been very concerned about that Trump is rigging this election. And but then again, I'm finding out people in the know, people that have control over these kind of things, they're watching it just as close because of what he did in 2020 and not stepping down and starting an insurrection and all that. And all these fake electoral people that were sent in to make fake claims about who got the most votes. So I think, every time I think about it, I get a little anxious because I'm thinking, could he possibly pull this off? And now he is, since they sent, what did they do? They went through 60 different courts trying to find ways to get around stuff to prove that the vote had been stolen. The other thing that worries me is that there's still a bunch of Republicans that actually, well, they say they believe that is to be true, that the election was stolen from Trump, even though they've been told over and over again it's not. And then those 60 court cases found, the 60 across the country could not find anything that said there was any election interference or anything wrong with how their elections were held. So these people just choose to back up the lie. And that is what Trump's based his whole campaign on. And now he gets people interested, it gets the other Republicans interested, and he can talk, how Biden's done such a terrible job because he should, he's acting like Biden's an illegitimate president. So would he do this again? And I see him messing around with exactly what you're talking about, Book Bewitched, and what Rachel Maddow apparently was talking about, as well as fooling around with the mail-in ballots, as well as fooling around with the actual machines, the voting machines. But I also see it takes a lot of people to agree to do this for him. And, they're infiltrating, and foreign countries are infiltrating. I mean, we've got a lot of things working against us on this election, and it worries me, but I think it'll be like a good over evil thing. I think it will get worked out, and I think that a bunch of people are going to go to prison over this for the 2024 thing, not just going back to 2020. I see, well, obviously a lot of people have already gone to prison for that one. And that it's going to happen again. And this is crazy, but this is what came to me on this, is that there's some people involved in this that are looking closer at, how much do they want to be involved, and how far will they go with this when they know they're being told that they're doing the right thing, but they know it's wrong. They know it's illegal, but they think that Trump's point is that what happened to him was illegal. They're looking at it again, and I think there's going to be a group of people that will take it to the authorities, the FBI or whoever, and say, hey, this is what they're planning in so and so state. I mean, this is a huge thing that they are, getting together to try to disrupt the election, but mainly in those main states where the electoral votes mean so much in the beginning. That they're really watching this. They may have already been contacted by these people, because what these people did is they've been working with the whole system for the last 3.5 years, trying to figure out if it should come to this, how would they do it? Well, now they see with Kamala Harris in there that, yeah, they're going to have to rig the election in order to win. That's the only way they can win. But I still think that there's people that their own conscience and their own belief in democracy and their own belief in country overcomes the illegal acts. And they also see that if they did something like this and they got caught, which they will, they're going to prison, and it's not worth it to them. And it's not worth it to lie for Trump. I guess that's the other thing, is watching how Trump does stuff, and they're thinking, you know what, they're asking me to lie and do something illegal. I don't think I can do it. I think there is people that are going to report this kind of stuff, and but I still think that even after the election, there'll be Trump will have attorneys and people out there fighting this, that saying that it was wrong, and it's just it's going to hold up the actual results. But
Yeah.
the other thing is I think that it's going to be such an overwhelming landslide that even if you're cheating, you're going to have a real tough time overcoming it, because I see so many more people voting for Kamala Harris. I mean, it's just, I think Biden won over Trump by what, 6 or 7 million votes.
I thought it was more than that. I'll Google it.
And I just see it. I see this being way more than that. I see it being, hopefully, that you won't be able to argue about it. It'll just be so obvious that Kamala Harris is the winner. But yeah, you bring up, that's a good point, Book Bewitched, and I wish I would have seen that show with Rachel Maddow, and it is very scary. But I think there's people out there right now working on this and trying to make a difference and make sure it doesn't happen this way. But they're fooling with it, and I've said this for over a year now, and it does worry me.
So the popular vote margin for Biden was more than 5 million votes, but over the course of the 4 states that had the electoral votes that made a difference, it was just 81,139 votes that made the difference for the electoral college.
I think that margin is going to expand, that there'll be a much bigger there just won't be any question. There just
Yeah.
won't be any question. And then when they come up with certain districts or counties or however they do the voting thing in different states where it doesn't quite look right, like maybe they have a lot of votes for Trump, but when you add up all the votes, you've got too many votes for that county.
Yeah.
I see that kind of thing happening, which will cause, a recount and rechecking the ballots.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of hanky panky going on there, and I don't
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
And it'll just give the Republicans another excuse to say the same thing they've been saying for the last 3.5 years.
Yeah. But the number of Republicans who are saying that is really dwindling. There's just not as many as there used to be. I did see the Rachel Maddow video, and that was a little scary. But I also saw a video from PBS, which was a long interview of election experts on 2024. And these were Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, GOP lawyer Benjamin Ginsburg, and election expert David Becker. And they discussed the security and integrity of American elections ahead of the November elections. And each one of them was asked, do you feel that in November we can have a safe and secure and non-fraudulent election? Every one of them said, absolutely, 100%, we are ready for this. And now all of them are very much aware of all of the harassment and bullying and threats that were inflicted upon poll workers, on states, Secretary of States in many states, on anybody involved with the election at any level, vote counters, ballot counters, whatever, that all these people were being threatened. Secretaries of states, heads of states, governors were being threatened. I mean, everybody was being bullied by the Republicans, and that machine is still in place. However, the people who are trying to remain neutral in the election process have gotten a lot smarter, and they now have protection, and they've hidden their social accounts, and they've taken measures to really make it much easier for them to function and to do their jobs. Not only that, the FBI has been on this like white on rice since the last election because they knew it was never going away. So it's great that we are going to have people in place. It's even better that we're going to have Republican people in place who are going to be whistleblowers on any kind of cheating. The FBI is really very much aware of this, and I think they've put out a pretty broad plan to focus on probably those states with the highest electoral votes, because that's the most natural place for cheating to occur, but also key swing states where the vote really misses, like Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, places like that, where it's going to, it's kind of up for grabs almost. And as far as Trump doing legal, what do you call it, cases about the vote, how is he going to pay for that? Because right now, the Republican Party is paying his legal bills and paying for his campaign. His campaign, he doesn't even have any little storefronts set up in different states. Everything is done out of Mar-a-Lago. So he's running a very bare bones campaign. He did hire really professional people to do it, but he's not paying attention to them. And, how is he going to pay additional lawyers? Because at the time that he did all of those challenges back in 2020 or 2021, actually, he had money. He had money to spare. Now, he may have gotten a bunch of money from, I don't know, Mohammed bin Salman, for all I know, to pay for lawyers. I mean, so maybe he will have the money. But just the fact that he can file the lawsuit doesn't mean that it will be taken up in court. And even if he does file the lawsuit, they have to prove that there was cheating. And now all of the courts, except for the ones that are in his pocket, are really kind of hip to the fact that, they said this before. This is an old saw. And so the cases that were run and failed in 2021 are now precedent for this other batch of cases that will be coming up in 2025. So, the lawyers who are fighting those cases have a lot more ammo in their pockets to say, nope, didn't happen, just as it didn't happen 4 years ago.
Right, right.
So there's a lot more on the side of right as far as, putting this down, don't let that dog hunt. There's nothing there, nothing to see. I mean, he will make this. And I do think, unfortunately, because he's so good at manipulating the legal system, it probably will go on for a few months that he is, objecting to the results of the election. So my question is, will Kamala be able to be inaugurated on January 20th?
The other thing I was going to say about the election people that concerns me is that the election workers, the poll workers, they're just regular everyday people going in and doing their part for us to help the votes. They are constantly being threatened, and right now they are. Many of them are leaving this. They're not going to do their little volunteer work because they've been threatened so much. So that really concerns me too. So, and what was your question just now? Oh, would they be able to do her in January 20th? Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So now we have a question from Anja Ashdown, and it says, are all the MAGA infiltrators in the DOJ, FBI, etc., pretty much weeded out by now, or is there still an issue to work around? Good question.
I think there's still a few, and I think there's still a few, and I think this is what has plagued Merrick Garland so much, because he not only had to fight justice to the outer world, but inside his own office. And he had to hide things and have meetings and not allowing certain people to see things. I mean, it's very difficult when you have to work in that kind of environment. No wonder he's gone so slow. I cannot blame him. I mean, he has had his hands tied at almost every step because of the leftover MAGAs in his midst. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah. So this person says, oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong thing. Hold on here a minute. This one. I think 45 is going to lose so badly there will be no question. This is what I'm hoping and praying for, Jane.
And I think they will. I think that the numbers will be stupendous. Did you see the film of that rally that Kamala did? It was in a venue that Trump had used before. And I remember seeing those lame little videos where they try for Trump, where they try to just video the part where they have everybody sitting really close together as if it's super crowded, right? And it looked like, oh, this place could fit probably maybe 500 people, like not very many people. With her, oh my God, this thing was effing huge. It was like more than Super Bowl size. I mean, it was just like, it looked like hundreds of thousands of people. And it was like one of her first rallies. Like, how did they even set it up? How did those people even know to go? And it was just incredible. Her rallies were just packed to the rafters. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people. It was just like, are you kidding? Whoa! I mean,
they both had back-to-back rallies in, what was it? Was it in Atlanta or?
Yeah, in Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and where Trump just didn't quite get as many as Kamala.
Oh, not even like he had a thimble. She filled up the ocean. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was so outsized. And so I think he is going to lose really badly. And I think that's just, when you embarrass a toddler and then you prove that what you said that was embarrassing is true, that toddler gets mad. and they kick and they scream and they bite and they do everything they can to hurt the person who just, in their eyes, hurt them. And that's what Trump's going to do. He's going to kick and scream and do everything that he can. And all those stupid Project 2025 people are probably going to help him. Heritage Foundation is probably going to help him. I don't know if they want to get into the lawsuits and waste all their money, because they're still thinking, people, when they see all the numbers, they'll be like, oh, yeah, got to retrench, pull back in, wait for the next 4 years. That's what they've been doing for 50 years since Ronald Reagan. Every 4 years, if it doesn't work, okay, we go back in. Not this time. I mean, Donald Trump is going to have, I don't know, maybe he'll just put a collar around JD Vance and have him start snarling and barking at everybody.
Well, did you hear about JD Vance, since he is a writer, that he is going to be writing the foreword of a book for one of the main guys from the Heritage Foundation?
Oh, he already did.
He already did?
Yeah, he wrote that. I think he wrote the foreword to Project 2025.
No. This wasn't directly with Project 2025, but that's what I thought I'd first read. But then this is a different book by, somebody that is helping create this. And I'm thinking, here Trump is saying, well, I don't even, what is Project 2025? And his own VP is writing about that material, about Project 2025.
Okay, so he did write the foreword to Project 2025. He did write that.
JD Vance wrote the foreword to Project 2025. Oh my God! God! I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, and then here is let's see. Then there's a new one. JD Vance pens intro to book by Project 2025 Guru. So here's another one that I want to know what kind of eyeliner he uses, because he's always got it on. Maybe he had it tattooed on.
I think it's tattooed.
Okay, so Vance, the Republican vice presidential, this is like 4 days ago, nominee and author of the memoir Hillbilly Elegy, which I won't be reading, wrote the introduction to Dawn's Early Light, Taking Back Washington to Save America, a book by Roberts, the president of the right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. It's not the actual Project 2025 document, but a book with that's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, he is writing yet another one. So apparently he likes to write these things. And isn't that going to piss off Trump, because Trump's trying to step back from 2025?
Well, what he doesn't get, what Trump doesn't understand, is that supposedly the group from Project 2025 is using Trump because of his notoriety and because he was a former president, and using him to get into the White House. Then they want to take Trump out and put Vance in. Not that Vance knows how to be president, but he does know how to take orders, and he is bought and paid for. So, Trump this should be, let's see what happens when they lose.
Well, that is very interesting, because remember when we were first talking about Vance, when he first got picked, and I had said on one of our shows, I think Vance is going to try to bump out Donald Trump and take the top spot for himself, because that's
absolutely right.
I thought it was going to happen before the election, but it would be even better if it was like a whole mastermind schemed plan that's probably diagrammed in PowerPoint presentations with the Project 2025 people, and Trump doesn't even know about it, because Trump doesn't read. If he read anything, he would know that this is a horrible plan, especially for him, because they don't care about him. Oh gosh.
No, they don't care about him. They're just using him to get to that spot, because there is this group that thinks that they want to change our democracy, and they want an authoritarian government. They want whoever, Trump has said once he's in, you won't have to vote again, because he'll be in forever. I mean, it's just so frightening that these kind of things are even being said. And this is what's going to propel everybody to vote for Kamala Harris, because
absolutely.
we don't. I'm telling you right now that I see 2025, and that's not what's happening. That
No.
is not. I mean, we're getting ready for such a much better life. We've heard from Trump and about Trump for almost 8 years now, and when Biden came in, I kept thinking, "Oh, good, finally, we don't have to hear about Trump anymore." And God, the next thing you know, that's all we hear about. And that's all, it's at least 2, 3, 4 times a week you would hear about Trump. I want to get to a point where Trump is insignificant and nobody cares. I don't mind hearing about what he's found guilty of next, or what sentencing might be for the crimes he's committed. That I am interested in. But this constant barrage of always, I mean, it has turned us numb. We're numb from all the garbage that is spewed out, that when you hear it, you just got to dismiss it because it's upsetting. So yeah, I see 2025 where things just chill out, and we can just be happy to watch him go through one court case after another, if he's even in the country.
I'm just waiting for the day that the only thing we see from Donald Trump is a little notification asking us to donate to his GoFundMe for his diapers.
Well, that, or for airplane fuel to get to another country.
Yeah, I do think that day is coming as well. Well, this has been fun. Oh my God.
So, okay, so we've been on an hour and 6 minutes. It's about time we get off here. I'm so glad you guys showed up today. I know this is an odd time, on a Sunday afternoon when everybody's busy. It's summertime, you're outside doing stuff, but you came in and watched us anyway, and thank you so much, and thank you for all the great questions. And I'm sure we didn't answer them all, but we tried to touch on things that were being brought up in the chat section. So thank you so much for being here. Colleen, thanks for doing this with me.
Yes.
I just love this. It's just Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris. This is what we're all looking for. And so is there something that you're going to be doing, Colleen, in the next few days, or on your schedule?
I have a pretty free week. On Friday, I think we have a Cool Crone Oracle show.
Sure.
And then this next weekend is pretty free for me because I have to get ready for fair. And then the weekend of the 17th, I start fair. And okay. I'm not going off of YouTube while I'm on fair. I'll probably do my Friday shows, but that's probably about it, because Saturday and Sunday all day I'll be at fair. I won't get home till late, so I won't be able to do any shows. But if I had a brain in my head, I'd probably figure out how to film some shorts from fair. I'll probably do that this year. I did some at the Eclipse, so I'll try to do that at fair too.
Okay, so next Friday with the Cool Crone Oracle, right? We do personal readings. Everybody wants to show up to that because we're pretty good at it, and we got a whole bunch of people working with us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be doing probably a show on Thursday with Marina called Kitchen Table Issues, which it's also political. And in the meantime, I might be my week this week is filled up with like personal stuff that doesn't have to do with YouTube. But if I have any time, I'm going to try to make a video too. In the meantime, we're going to be around. We just love having you guys show up and bring up your own comments.
Oh, I forgot. I put up my August astrology video, and also the new moon in Leo astrology video. Those are up on my channel now, so don't miss those.
And I watched them this time, and they were pretty good.
Oh, good.
So we'll see you all next time. I'm not sure if Colleen's going to have a chance to do this with me next Sunday, but if she doesn't, I'll come on, or I'll bring somebody with me. I don't know yet. So anyway, bye-bye. See you all later. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.